Okay, guys, I think we are now live at the Nomberg Law Firm Facebook page. I want to welcome everybody. As we've been trying to do a couple of days a week, I'm interviewing and having discussions with people in different industries where their industry has been impacted by the pandemic. And I've got my good buddy, JanieMac D, who is a very successful real estate agent here in Birmingham. Thank you, JanieMac, for having a little bit of time for us today.
I appreciate you considering having me on.
Absolutely. We've had one of these discussions a few years ago, but this is a little bit different. It's got a twist. We're buying and selling houses, but it's in today's market. And there's so many things that are different. There's many things that are the same, but there's so many things that are different. And I saw an article recently that was suggesting now is the time to not slow down in your buying and selling. And that's what has brought us together today. So JanieMac, before we jump into that, tell us a little bit about what you do professionally, and then we'll just dive right in.
Yes. Well, obviously, I'm a residential real estate agent. I work for LAH Real Estate in Mountain Brook. I've been in this business close to 7 years, been a top producer for the past few years, and just absolutely love my job, have just really dove into it, and it's a true passion of mine. I love my clients. I love finding them their perfect homes, or selling their homes, or relocating them, and things like that. So that's basically what I do. I work with listings, and I also work with buyers.
Very good. Well, JanieMac, I know that you and I are in the Birmingham metro area, but I suspect that what we're going to talk about can be utilized really anywhere in the country, because I know a lot of these things, there's a lot of similarities regardless of where you are. So that's kind of where I want to jump in here. Why is it that people in the industry feel is still a good time, or maybe even a great time, to get back into the market one way or the other, buying or selling?
Right. Well, first off, let's talk about kind of the safety precautions that realtors are taking right now to help move on the market and to keep everybody safe while we progress with this. Because there are clients that we have that have to buy and have to sell because they're relocating and they're moving for jobs and such. And so they have no choice. They have to move. And so for that, we've taken a lot of precautions to try to make everybody safe. We do not ride with clients in our cars. We do not have any public open houses. We don't have agent open houses. For our current listings, we're asking all of our sellers to turn all their lights on and leave them on, to open all the doors so that nobody has to have any contact with anything in the home. We are providing our clients with, if they don't have them, we can get them a face mask made if we can't find any. We are, Clorox is our best friend, Lysol, we're using all these things. We even have booties that we can provide our clients to cover up their shoes for when they're walking into homes, or they can remove their shoes. We do have masks, we have gloves. We have reusable masks so that we're not wasting or taking anything from the people on the front lines and things like that. So that's just a little tidbit of some of the things that we're doing to keep everybody safe. We're also utilizing a lot of videography. We are doing a lot of virtual tours. Pretty much all of my listings right now have videos of the entire inside of the home to be able to show buyers what the homes look like and the layout on the interior, without actually having to be present at that home, to get an idea of, is this something that we really need to set up an appointment to see? And then also realtors are doing a lot of agent previews, where if we have a buyer, we think that they're interested in this home, we will actually go in via FaceTime or Zoom and actually walk through that house ourselves and show them all the features of that home so that everybody can safely, this protects the buyers, it protects sellers, and it protects us. So, and right now, since all this happened, going back to your question, the inventory is getting pretty low. A lot of listings actually pulled from the market and have gone into a temporary off-market status. And with that, the inventory has gotten kind of low. And so a lot of my listings that remained on the market have now gone under contract because there's still buyers that still need to buy. So the market is still progressing.
Excellent. Well, I know in my neighborhood alone, I know of a high six-figure and a low seven-figure homes that have both either sold or closed in the last 2 weeks, and I think that's fantastic. It sounds like there's a lot of things that are being done to kind of like in most industries, JanieMac, they're just learning how this can be accomplished. They're learning how things can go forward. That just because we're in a time of crisis and coming through it, hopefully very slowly, but business can still move forward. People can continue forward with their lives. And what you're telling us, it sounds like whether you want to do it virtually, just from sitting at your home on your iPad, sitting on your couch, or the old fashioned way, the way you've always shown houses, both of those can be accomplished. From your standpoint, what are some things that, let's just take from the seller's standpoint first. What are some different things that sellers are also now doing in order to make their houses available and attractive? And why should they, given that if you talk to or hear a lot of the economists out there and the money people in the world, that we don't have a very good economy coming up into the future. But yet I read that, like I said, the articles that kind of are bucking that trend, if you will. So talk to us from the seller's standpoint, what you're seeing and what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, they're definitely anticipating either a delayed spring boom of some sort that may happen a little later in the year, kind of more of like instead of the spring being actually in the spring, it's going to be closer to late spring, summer, or fall. Some of the things that sellers can be doing is, first off, selling it for sale by owner is going to be extremely difficult right now. So hiring yourself a good realtor is definitely something that everybody who's thinking of listing their home should consider. And definitely professional photography and doing the video walkthroughs of the homes and doing those small repairs that may need to be done because the contractors and such are still working. So sprucing, you're at home, most everybody's at home right now. So sprucing up your home, you're right there. You can kind of see what your home needs right in front of you. And if you're not, you can find a good realtor that can help you walk through your home, even through how we're doing it, Zoom, FaceTime, or anything to get your home ready. Start decluttering. Right now is the perfect time to start decluttering and getting your home ready for the market. Other things that, and if you do eventually get it on the market, taking the safety precautions, such as leaving your lights on so that nobody has to touch any switches, leave all the doors open, closet doors, so that nobody has to touch any door handles. Really, since everybody's mostly working from home right now, it's a great time to start sprucing your home up to get it ready and decluttering for the market.
Well, why should people, if you're still being on the seller's side of things, what are the incentives? You had mentioned a minute ago about inventory. What
Yes.
is it about this time of the year or what's going on with the pandemic that is making it attractive for sellers to want to jump in and test the market, so to speak?
Well, right now things are going under contract. Things are closing. The closing attorneys, even themselves, have taken major safety precautions for everybody. They are doing curbside closings. They're doing closings, outdoors. If they're not doing them outdoors, they're actually cleaning and desanitizing the rooms after each group comes through and separating the groups. Normally in today's market, we've kind of gotten in a face-to-face basis with our buyers and our sellers, where now we're kind of separating the groups so that everybody brings safe. People are bringing their own pins to closings and things like that. And the inventory, due to the fear of the COVID-19, Like I said, a lot of people started pulling their houses from the market, and a lot of people didn't actually list. So we really didn't get that huge spring boom that we do. So with that, there's limited availability of homes on the market, and which brings in that demand aspect of, well, you know, you may actually get that higher price because there's less competition.
Gotcha. Now let's talk about those closings. Are there any changes to the regulations about the requirement for actual wet ink signatures, or have they allowed for different types of signatures now to be placed on the paperwork?
There is a lot of discussion on that. There is nothing set in stone right now that I personally know of that they have gone to fully remote closings. You still do have to sign your documents, even on a refi. There are discussions on being able to move forward with that, but right now, this may progress that, but I don't think it's taken in effect yet.
What are you seeing by way of rates? How are those looking right now?
Right now, rates are still low, and we hope that it remains that way for the unforeseeable future. But with the uncertainty of the economy and everything, we just don't know. Another good reason why now's the time to buy.
Well, now let's kind of shift away from being the seller to now I'm in the market looking for a house. What are my incentives? How am I going to get that done? Because like you said earlier, everybody's home. I think it would be very easy to shop, so to speak, to look for your dream home on websites and on the internet, but put me in the place of a buyer and tell me why I need to be looking right now.
Well, because rates are still so low and still so appealing, it is a good time to keep looking. And we have seen a slight shift in the seller's market doing, you know, because of the lack of, you know, demand. And there's just been that shift. And for buyers, it's just with the rates being low and the lack of new listings, it's a really good time. Well, I don't know. I'm throwing myself off on that, but you know, it's the rates and the way that we're changing everything, and with the videos online, it's really, people are still relocating in, so it's just a good time to buy.
You know, as part of it, maybe that people just have more time. They have more time to look, to search.
Yeah.
In the past, you know, everybody still has very busy lives, but the difference is you're home a lot more. I've got a buddy of mine, my old double play partner from high school, Mike Rookert over in Georgia, asks JanieMac, do they not have the ability to use a type of DocuSign electronic software? Before you answer that, is that a state by state regulation, or is that a national or federal?
It's the state by state regulation. Yeah.
So you're here in Alabama. What's the Alabama law about using DocuSign or electronic software?
We can do DocuSign on contracts, but they're not doing DocuSign on closing. So still, if you're closing remotely, you actually have to have those documents FedEx to you, and they still have to be in front of a notary. And so a lot of people are actually traveling back to finalize closings because some people are having issues finding notaries.
Just as stepping aside, I think it was either the Alabama Supreme Court or the Alabama Office of Administration of Courts put out a change, or maybe the governor, forgive me, but now there's different ways that notaries can do their job. As long as they visually video, watch it live, they can then put their stamp, etc., after the fact. So they are making some changes here. Thanks, Mike, for that question. And if you guys, I'm talking with JanieMac, Dixon Rowe, and I hear Mary Fletcher and Lawson in the background, and that's okay. We want to see them. If you got them, they want to come by and say hello, that's okay too. But guys, we're talking about buying and selling homes in today's market. JanieMac is telling us how it gets done, and it can be done. And there's a lot of, as long as you're thinking outside of the box, and this may become the new way to do business. I know in my world, JanieMac, we're doing hearings online. I don't have to drive across the state for a 10-minute hearing right now. David Ashkenazi, another buddy of mine in here in Birmingham, says, or asked JanieMac, do you expect an increase or a decrease or similar rates of homes for sale this summer in the next quarter?
Well, I definitely foresee it. I think it's going to be that late spring boom. I think we're going to see, once things start settling down and once everybody keeps evolving and once we kind of get a grasp on the market and how we're going to proceed, I think all those people that were thinking of listing in the spring who got scared are going to start more, not necessarily flooding the market, but testing the market more. So I definitely think there's going to be a delayed and there are going to be a lot more listings coming up in the summer.
Okay.
So,
and when there's more inventory, how does that affect the prices? How does that affect the flow of closings and things when there's more inventory?
well, when there's more inventory, it also increases your buying pool as well. You know, as people are sitting home in these quarantine times, not only are they seeing things that they need to upgrade about their home, but they're also maybe start feeling a little claustrophobic, or they may start feeling, well, you know, there are a lot of things that I don't like about this house. Maybe it is time for us to put it on the market. And so as this progresses, I think you're going to see maybe a flood of more people listing their home that weren't even considering listing, because they actually now, instead of being out at work every day, they're at home every day and they're feeling a little more, you know, confined. And then they may want to actually upgrade their home instead of, you know, just waiting to see what happens.
Well, JanieMac, we've got a bunch of folks from all over the place. Cece says to tell you hello, among others. And I want to ask you, let's talk about, I'm a homeowner. I want to put my house on the market. You talked about now's the time to do some spring cleaning. And that never goes away. People accumulate and clutter up their homes with way too much stuff. So let's focus for just a minute or two on some tips, some things that people who are already home and have a lot more time on their hands than they normally do. What are some things people can do to spruce up their house, to declutter it, to clean it up a little bit?
I really recommend everybody to go through, pick one room at a time, and then just go through it. Look around, see the decor that you don't like anymore, that you don't have, and the things in the room that you don't have use for. If you take it room by room, it is really helpful. I did this myself. My sister Chris actually came over and we just completely went through my kitchen and just got rid of everything that I didn't need and didn't want anymore, and just made it look so much brighter and decluttered and bigger. So if you just take it slow, go room by room as you do it, touch up the paint, because as you remove things and as you change up your decor, touching up your paint can just add so much. And that's something that you can do at home that's minimally not expensive and just minimal upgrades that'll just brighten up the whole home. And then just, you know, decluttering room from room and deep cleaning, you know, go along those baseboards, do all that cleaning that you've been putting off for forever. And it really can help to make the home just appear so much better. And minor repairs, there's so many minor repairs that people can do on their home that they can do themselves. So it's just things like that are can just really make a house pop.
There are, now you have to be careful where you go, but I have found on YouTube, there's so many do-it-yourself tutorials. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're not, and stop me if I'm wrong here, but if you're not trained and know what you're doing with electrical, don't do it. If you're not trained in plumbing, don't do it. But no. Those things I think that are kind of in your comfort zone, or that you fully understand what you're doing. Now, take us outside. What are some things, you know, everything's in bloom. The pollen is certainly all over the place. What are some basic things that people can do while they're home?
Yes. Well, working on your garden right now, because everybody's been confined in their homes, get outside. All the nurseries and the plant shops are still open. So you can start that wonderful garden that you've always wanted. You can just rehab the entire thing, rip up those big shrubs that are hiding your home, and plant something that's, you know, reasonable and small, and you can really take this time to declutter those overgrown gardens right now. Pull the weeds from the yard. I mean, it's just, and it's not just, you know, makes everything just look so much nicer, but it's actually good for you to get outside, and it's good exercise. So really, you know, pressure washing can do so much to the exterior of your home. It is something that pretty much anybody can do, as long as you don't do it too hard and blow the paint off your home. So, you know,
there's always that.
There is always that. Pulling overgrown ivy can make a home look tired, you know, and ivy growing on a home can actually eat the mortar from in between your bricks. So it's definitely not good to have ivy on a home. Maybe pull the ivy off, plant something like flat leaf fig. Okay, I'll be with you in just a minute, bud.
Done in a few minutes.
Yeah. And planting some beautiful flowers that would just bloom and just make your entire backyard pop. And it will really help with your curb appeal. And curb appeal, I mean, that's the first thing that people see when they look at your home. So sprucing up the paint, pressure washing, and updating your landscaping, pine strawing right now, and mulching and all that kind of stuff just really pops, because that is the first thing people see when they look at your home.
Well, it's just as a side note, there's a nursery in my neighborhood. I called the owner, or the fellow behind the counter, told him what I wanted, paid over the phone with my credit card. He left everything out on the sidewalk, never went inside, just pulled my car up, loaded it, and I was gone in 2 minutes. It was so easy. And the nurseries are being so helpful, and they need the business. So now's a great time. And we're getting close to the end of our talk with JanieMac Dixon Rowe. And I've got a question here from Alexis. Can first-time home buyers, should they wait for the fall or next spring, or will they lose out in the long run from not buying now?
First-time home buyers, go for it. It is a great time to buy. The good thing about buyers right now, and one of the incentives that I should have mentioned earlier, is that a lot of people are scared. And so you have a lot less competition right now. So it's really a good time to jump in there and get started, get going. You know, I mean, you may find something great, and because of a lack of competition, you may get a good deal on it too. So it's just, you know, hire a realtor, use all your safety precautions, and really just dig in, because it is a great time to buy. Rates are low. And that's another thing. Rates, we don't know what the rates will do. They could jump. And then, you know, we may get a flood of inventory and higher rates, which could affect pricing. So we're unsure on what's going to happen in the future. So right now is a good time to list and a good time to buy.
Some great advice from JanieMac. Now, I put a link to your website on where we're in the show notes here. How can folks get in touch with you if they're ready to get into the market?
Well, my husband, you know, hates it, but I have my phone on me 24/7. So you can call, text me, or Zoom me whenever you feel like.
Well, tell Kevin, thank you. Well, guys, we've been talking with JanieMac Dixon Rowe, and we've been talking about buying and selling homes in today's market. And contrary maybe to most beliefs, now sounds like it's the time. There's articles out there. You've just heard it from one of the leading realtors in the Birmingham market. So JanieMac, thank you so much for spending some time educating us all today.
Well, I really appreciate you having me. I always enjoy having our chats.
Absolutely. And you please tell Lawson and Mary Fletcher, hope they're doing
sure
well as well.
I'm
guys,
surprised they didn't invade my space. They usually do.
That's okay had they done so. Well, guys, that'll do it for today. We're trying to give you a couple of different conversations on Mondays and Thursdays about different industries and different areas of our lives that are being impacted by the pandemic, and how we deal with it, and how the professionals will deal with it. And JanieMac certainly gave us some great information today. So thank you, JanieMac. Hope you have a great rest of your afternoon, and I'm sure we will catch you again soon. Take care, guys.
See you soon. Bye. You still there?